right, welcome back. College Sports Tonight, Sirius XM, ESPNU Radio, 84. With Tom Luganville, Wes Durham. Well, you've been gone for a couple of weeks. We've been kind of changing the vibe out a little bit.
Whole thing's gone to hell in a handbasket.
No,
where's the Jewish Elvis?
We're just, I don't know. We're going to get to
Where's Boz Skaggs?
We're going to get to R.J. Young before you take over and go Barry Manilow on this.
Yeah, where is Barry?
All right, maybe that's an hour 3 tonight. R.J. Young hosts the very popular R.J. Young Show on the Sports Animal 97.1 in Tulsa. It covers Oklahoma for OU 24/7, and good enough to carve a minute out, too. I know you had a show tonight, so I really appreciate you doing this. R.J., it's Wes Durham. How are you?
I'm good, Wes. How are you, man? I'm enjoying the banter. I'm Barry Manilow in hour 3. I'm here for it.
Well, Luke's and I haven't worked together in 3 weeks because he's been off on the rubber chicken and green bean circuit collecting quarterback club money from innocent venues around the country.
Victims.
Yeah, victims around the country who he fills the air with hot mess and then comes back in and acts like he never said it. Okay, the miracle in Waco the other night saved Oklahoma. I'm not sure it saved the Big 12. Tell me what you think the peril is now for the Sooners and the Big 12 as a whole as we go down the stretch in college football.
It's flat out no respect for the Big 12 at all. None for Oklahoma, none for Baylor, none for the other two teams that they rank because apparently they like them, they just don't want to marry them, right? It's, hey, we're going to date for a little bit, but while we're dating, I really love the SEC, and I really love an Oregon team that's got one top 25 win. I don't get this, man. You know, last week it was all this thing about quality wins, and quality wins usually mean you have a number in front of your name. Oklahoma's got 2 of those. Penn State's got 2 of those. Oregon, 1. Utah, 1. And now we're ranking 4 lost teams. I don't get it. And I'm done trying to get it. I just know that, hey, if Oklahoma wins out, it'll probably end up winning against 4 ranked opponents, but all of a sudden people want to act like Texas is not any good, but they want to hold up the Texas win for LSU. I mean, Wes, what are we doing here? What are we doing?
So, RJ, with that being said, if you're going to consider factors as to why, all right, Kansas State losing on back-to-back weeks can't help. That's number one, right? And then defensively, while I think they're better coached, are they running out of gas a little bit on that side of the ball? Because I think that's an issue that's plagued them in the past in the eyes of the committee. And I know you're not supposed to carry one season over to the next, but is the defensive side of the football, not just with Oklahoma, but in the conference top to bottom, a problem for the perception of the Big 12?
Apparently, because it's not a problem for Alabama in their defensive perception or the fact that they got the Mac back as their starting quarterback now. But when you're talking about Oklahoma, you're talking about they played really well against the teams that they're supposed to play well against up until Kansas State. And then it feels like they got figured out, right? And I've seen this with Texas's offense, who has apparently forgotten how to run the ball against Iowa State and went banned the run against Texas Christian. And then, of course, was stymied by Oklahoma. But Alex Grinch had played against that offense, or coached against that offense, I should say, all of last year. So he knew it. And apparently other people knew it. I don't know that it's so much it's Oklahoma or even the Big 12 defensively and what the reputation is. Because, I mean, if Kansas can go to Boston College and get a W, and we all know what Kansas is, right? And if West Virginia can go to North Carolina State and get a W, and we all know what North Carolina State is and what West Virginia is, I don't understand. Are they watching these games? Because, Tom, you're watching these games.
Yeah, I think, RJ, it's interesting. I think the Big 12 just catches the wrong crack in the door this year, for lack of a better term, too. I mean, look, they're really good teams in that league, of which I think Oklahoma is the best. I got to be honest with you. I never bought the Texas thing this year. I just didn't.
That's fair.
And it's not a slight to Texas. I think Oklahoma's a really good team who deserves to be in the mix. And you brought up a point tonight about Oregon and Utah, and I don't disagree with it. I think it becomes a really intense discussion in that room, of which Joe Castiglione is not in. And I think that becomes an interesting dynamic too. Give me what happens the rest of the way in the Big 12. Is this just a layup for Oklahoma to win the championship?
Oh, by no means, man. This Texas Christian team is a very good 5-5 team, as they've shown here in the last couple of weeks.
They're Jekyll and Hyde, man.
Yeah, well, I mean, and that's kind of that's what I expect from Gary Patterson. See, because, I mean, you got a true freshman in Max Duggan that I think is going to be really, really good, and he seems to be figuring it out. And Sonny Cummings got him trending the right way. Tay Barber, it can take the top off the defense. They're good. Oklahoma State with Chuba Hubbard and Spencer Sanders, if he doesn't turn the ball over, they're good, right? We're talking about Colby Harvell-Peel, the safety at Oklahoma State's got as many interceptions as the entire OU defense. And then Baylor, right, who won games.
Hold on. Let me take it across the top of the hour. I want to keep you online here real quick if we can. Hour 2 coming up next.
Don't be cornering me. Hold up. Time. You gotta help me with that corner shit.
RJ Young's with us from the Sports Animal, 97.1 in Tulsa. And good enough to hold over the top of the hour. We had too much crap going on in the first hour, RJ. I'm not going to lie to you. We had a bunch of callers, top 25, and all sorts of jackleg stuff with Luganville back on the show. Okay, so you're saying Oklahoma is not a layup in the Big 12. So if they run to the house here and the only loss is Kansas State and they don't get in, can the Big 12 stand that? Are they going to be able to stand it?
Well, I mean, can the Pac-12 stand it last year? Or you know, I mean, you don't have a choice here. You know, I think that this game is really simple. Don't lose, right? The way we got to set it up, don't lose. If you take an L, you deserve what you get. But I do think as long as we're going to rank teams and we're going to do the resume thing, hey, man, let's have one rubric. Let's have the same criteria. Let's make sure that the stuff on the field is the stuff on the field. Because it used to be we had this thing called a scoreboard that decided who were the better teams. And that gets into the whole thing about the college football playoff, how I feel about it. But, hey, look, I mean, you're going to have a case. You're certainly going to be able to hold up these ranked pelts. And, frankly, Oregon, who's been playing really good football, and to Tom's point over the weekend, they run the table, go 12-0 the rest of the way. You got to give some to that. But if we're going to count the ranked opponents, they don't have them. So what matters more, how you look on a football field or who you beat?
So from your perspective as it relates to the Big 12 then, who do you actually think is the second best team in the league?
Has to be Baylor based on record. It's Baylor. Like, that's an easy question. It says 9-1 next to their name. You are who your record is. Or your record is who you are, excuse me.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting stretch here because one slip, there's going to be a massive domino roll on this.
Oh yeah, I mean, but the biggest slip, right? It doesn't have to come in the Big 12. It'll come somewhere else, right? Let's say Arizona State pulls off a W against Oregon. Okay, does that mean that Utah is the shoe-in if they beat Oregon in the Pac-12 championship, or are we going to say that they beat a 2-loss team? You know, like, because the way I'm looking at this thing with Oklahoma at 9. And the people that have to take L's in front of them based on not getting to move off of that 25-point come-from-behind victory this week, it means that this committee just doesn't value the Big 12 except to try to fill out its top 25. You know, they ran out of teams. They swapped Texas for Iowa State. I mean, what are we really going to talk about here? Are we going to talk about the 3-loss teams that are ranked in this thing, the 4-loss teams that are ranked in this thing, or are we going to talk about the ones that beat the opponents that we all agreed are good?
I'm with you on that. Hey, RJ, thanks for the time. I appreciate you holding over the top of the hour.
Wes, I appreciate you, man.
Fun to talk to, and thanks a lot.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, Tom.